I think as women, we have a problem with talking about money.
And where it seems like a lot of money if you don't have it, but when you've made it, it's like, no, I can make that.
You know, we're not afforded the privilege to understand financial literacy is insane. I want to jump into the conversation of entrepreneurship because I think that's super, super, super important. And earlier, I think, AJ, you said something about, you know, not being able to get funded.
Yeah.
So if anybody here can just talk about what those trials and tribulations, obstacles that you may have gone through, regarding even just getting an investor or a loan at the bank. We all know what that could be about. I know, I saw that. So just let us know, like, how can Black people get ahead? What were the tribulations that you had to go through?
I think for me, so I started AJ Crimson Beauty with $5,000, but this is also coming off the back of spending probably over $200,000 on Kissable Couture, you know, a few
Really
years
quickly,
before.
$5,000 of your own?
Of my own money.
Okay.
Yeah. Each time I've self-funded. So with Kissable Couture, I had a business partner. In AJ Crimson, it was just myself. I learned so much from Kissable Couture, which launched in 2007, and that was we spent $80,000 just on PR. You know, so that was. But I also had, you know, I had the money to support it. My business partner had the money to support it, and we just tackled it. But that was the time. You know what I mean? In 2007, like everything was about magazines, right? And before that. In 2013, we were in the Instagram, YouTube era, you know, where I was like, hey, you know what, I'm gonna try something different and I'm gonna see if I can do this with minimal dollars in the PR realm. And I felt like with my name and with my reputation, I didn't need to do a lot of, I could leverage that, you know, where I wasn't necessarily able to do that the first time around. But fast forward, you know, now the business is moving. Things are going, like we're probably in like maybe year 4 or 5, which for a lot of businesses to get past year 3 is a challenge. Now I'm talking to investors and what I found was that a 16-year-old white girl could come to a conglomerate and say, hey, I got this idea to make some foundation sticks, and like, all right, cool, we'll give you $2 million for it.
Man.
You know, and then I'm having conversations with people that saying, hey, you know, here are my spreadsheets from the last 3 to 4 years. We're gaining year over year,
and it's not good.
And your offer, you want me to give you 75% of my business?
Excuse
for 75. These are the conversations I was having.
Tell me that's not a real number though.
Oh, it absolutely was.
Wow.
It was 75% of my business for a fraction of what I was already making. Wow. I was like, I'm sorry, like, did I read the numbers incorrectly? Because I can make that sitting here doing what I'm doing now. That doesn't, me bringing you on board is to expand and move my business forward, not for me to work harder with less. So, you know, I thought that was just the ultimate slap in the face, and it just kind of, it discouraged me. But what that also prompted and what had to happen, I don't know if it had to happen, but what it forced me to do was get involved in some of these high interest, hard money loans. You know what I mean? Which a lot of people won't talk about. And I'm gonna tell you about it because, you know, the thing is, like, what's $20,000? You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I can make 20,000, you know, and I can figure that out. You know what I mean? Like, and where it seems like a lot of money if you don't have it, but when you've made it, it's like, no, I can make that. So to get a loan for $20,000 or $30,000, which is pulling from your day-to-day cash flow.
Right.
You know what I mean? When you may not be turning that over every day, you know, because we're not a cheap brand. You know, so I'm in the luxury game. So in the luxury game, it's a long game. It's not like I'm selling $6 foundation and you just kind of get it. You know what I mean? Like, it's a $45 compactor foundation or a $150 pallet. So you got to know that you want it. Yeah. But to have that money coming out of your account on a daily basis, all your profit is going back to pay the loan. You know what I mean? So my advice is if you have a plan. When I first did it, I launched the AJ Crimson Artist Kit. I think I took maybe $20,000 to do it, but I had already put up half the money to have it produced, so it was already started. I started doing pre-orders on the actual item itself, and then I was able to generate the funds. And luckily, when I launched it was around Black Friday, so I knew I was going to do somewhat of a discount because we love to buy shit on discount.
Okay. We do.
Instead of paying like our regular price and what it's worth. But that's a whole nother conversation.
Yes, it is.
But I was able to generate the funds, and then when I used the loan to finish the product,
Yeah.
then I had already made the money back, so I was able to pay the loan off, and it didn't hit me. When I tried it a couple more times, it didn't work out so well, but I bounced back. You know what I mean? So just, you got to be careful with that.
And you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I will say, so this week it was announced that my company won Google for Startups recipient. We got $10,000. Thank you. So it's been a really awesome experience, but I will say that, for me, I had to be honest, like as a woman, even though I, grew up, my family was middle class, I think as women, we have a problem with talking about money.
Just to think that we can't go to the bank and get a loan easy, it makes no sense. Just to think that we don't, we're not afforded the privilege to understand financial literacy is insane. There are some other cultures that's just, you're reading the daily, like you're reading New York Times at 3 in some other places. We just don't know we can do that. The fact that, and unfortunately, I had to find out about AJ Crimson Beauty was through this panel is a problem. You know what I'm saying? I should have been able to reach out to you, or not necessarily reach out to you, but, go be able to be, to see your brand, see myself in your brand, to want to order, as opposed to going to the larger brands that, when you walk into these spaces, these beauty spaces that, I'm trying to find something, a nude, because, finding a nude child for your complexion, whether it's a tight, whether it is what is it? The underneath, what is it called? Not the body shaper? Spanx, thank you, child. Spanx, whether it's a lip gloss, it's so hard to find these nudes. And the fact that I had to sit on a panel to find out about your brand is the, in fact, problem.